Okay, so let's look at example number 4. It says if triangle STW is congruent to triangle BFN, find each measure. Okay, so before we begin, we need to mark things to be congruent. So let's start with angles. Go ahead and mark angles to be congruent. Okay, so if we've marked angles congruent, then that means we can fill in with what we know. Because if S and B are the same, then that means that B is also 67, right? And so we can say that angle B is 67. Put that in your diagram. If N is 82, what else is 82? W, right? So let's put that in our diagram. And how might we figure out how much angle T and F are? Chris?
82 plus 67 minus 108.
Okay, Chris is saying we know it's a triangle, so if we add 82 and 67 together, we subtract that from 180. We should get that missing angle. Okay, take a minute and do that. Tylea, what do you get? What? 39. Does anyone else get 39? You say? Oh, if you would speak up, then I wouldn't look like a silly person. 31, she said. Maybe I need to get my hearing checked. I don't know. Okay, so that one's 31. All right, so let's go ahead and fill in our angles that we know. It says angle W. Well, now we're just looking at our diagram, right? It's 82. B was 67. And F is 31. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing with our sides, okay? So let's go ahead and match our sides up. ST goes with BF. So how long is BF then? 17. TW matches with FN. So how long is TW then? 14. And then SW matches with BN. So it's how much? 9. So BN is 9. TW is 14. BF is 17. Okay? How are we feeling about that? It's okay? Do we need to do number 5 or are you guys okay? Okay, number 5 is just a little bit different. Okay, so we'll fill out the diagram of number 5, but not worry about filling in the blanks. You can go back and do that. Okay, the thing that's different about number 5 is we have an isosceles triangle, right? But if triangle GHJ is isosceles, remember that means two sides are the same. If GHJ is isosceles, then what do you know about the other triangle? It's also isosceles, right? And so that means that these two are congruent to each other. ZY and YX are congruent to each other. So if GH is 27, how much is HJ? 27, which means both the sides on the other triangle are also 27. And then the missing base, GJ, is how much? 18. Now we have to talk about our angles. Which angle matches up with Y? H. So H is also 38. How are we going to figure out the missing angles?
Wouldn't it be 2x plus 38 equals 180?
Okay, so John is saying, remember guys, that when you have an isosceles triangle, these angles are the same. The base angles are congruent. You guys remember that? Okay, and we don't know them, so he said x for each of them. So then he said 2x plus 38, which is x plus 38 equals 180. Okay, so we know that if we add these two x's together plus 38 and equal it to 180, what do we get? $71 for each of them, which means z and x are also 71. Sure. Yep. Okay, are you okay with the top angle being 38?
Yeah, because why?
Okay, so now we have to figure out how much these bottom ones are, right? But remember, because this is an isosceles triangle, the angles across from them are also going to be congruent. Okay? So I don't know how much G is and I don't know how much J is, but I can put in X because they're the same. So I put an X in for both. And then all three angles in a triangle make how much? So if I add X plus 38, I should get 180. Right? I'm adding the three angles together. So I have X plus 38 equals 180, which is the same thing as 2X plus 38 equals 180. And then when we solve that, we're getting X to be 71. Okay? Yep. All right. Let's hit up number 7. They're asking us about angles here, and they're giving us X, Y, and Z. So we have a couple problems. First of all, in the triangle FNC, if I added those all up to equal 180, I would be in trouble, right? Because I have a Y and a Z in there, and that can't work. Okay? And I also can't set like 6x minus 29 equal to 3y because that's going to give me an x and a y. I need to figure out which angles go together. So the first thing I want you to do is look at your congruency statement, not what the picture looks like. If you go with what the picture looks like, you're going to make mistakes. Okay, so let's use our congruency statement and mark our angles to be congruent to each other. Okay, take a minute, use your congruency statement and mark angles together. Okay, does anyone have an equation that we can set up here? Elvis?
Maybe 3z plus 14 equals 50.
3z?
Yeah, because u, v, and t are the same.
Are you on number 7 with us?
Oh, I'm on number 6.
Woohoo! Okay. But I think you're on the, okay, look at my diagram up here.
Okay.
Look at my diagram up here on number 7. What do you know matches up together where we can solve? Same train of thought. What are you thinking? Because we have to start with the ones that we know. So what about angle P? Angle P is 36. And what does angle P match up with? C. So Elvis, could we set 36 equal to 4z minus 32? Which is the same train of thought, it's just different variables. Yeah. Oh, you're fine. Okay, so we're going to set 36 equals 4z minus 32 because we know that those two angles are equal to each other. Okay, let's take a minute to solve that out. Grab a calculator if you don't have one, please.
So are these are the same shapes?
Well, it tells us right there that in that triangle statement that they're congruent. So this triangle is congruent to this triangle.
Yeah.
Okay? So now to be able to match everything up, I'm going to use my congruency statement. P goes with what?
C.
So I need to mark P congruent to angle C.
So
Okay?
1. And
Then H, yep.
1, 2, and S.
Okay, and then because these both have 1 and 1, I can set them equal to each other and figure out what z is. Okay, are you guys getting 17 for z? All right, so if z is 17, where am I going to go from there? I have a couple options, actually. Which route are you going?
Go 6, not 6x, go x.
Okay, to find x, we can do what?
6x minus 29 equal to 115.
Okay, 6x minus 29 equals to 115. It's the same concept of what we did the first time with z. We know that h and n match up. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and set those equal to each other. You said this is x is what, Brian? Did you get 6x equals 144? Yes?
Yes, and then I'll figure
Okay.
X equals 24.
Okay, so x is 24. So how are we going to figure out how much y is? Any ideas? Elvis, you going to try it again?
Yeah.
All right, you're on problem number 7, right?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
So we plug in x to h,
Okay?
and then we subtract those by 180.
Okay, and that's going to give us how much s is.
Yeah. And then so we equal s to 3y minus 1.
Okay? Is there another way we could do it that might not be as much work, as many steps, Natasha?
36 plus 115, if you subtract that from 180, will give you s, and s is congruent to that.
Okay, so he's saying the same thing. What else? What's another way I can do this? Monica?
You could plug the x 24 into 6, or plug the x into 6x minus 29.
Yep.
With the number that you use.
Okay. That's the same thing. What about this, guys? What if I plug in for z, and I know what n is, plus 3y minus 1 has to equal how much? 180. And that's, I'm staying in one triangle then. Right? That's another way to do it. Again, you guys have told me great ways. All of them get us to the same point. I don't care which one you use, because we're all going to get to the same point. I'm going to try to plug z in, though, because then it's going to keep everything I need to in one equation. So 4 times 17 minus 32 plus 115 plus 3y minus 1 equals 180. So I just worked in one triangle.
So it was because it was across from each other. So you just, because you had Z, so you decided to use that one.
Yes.
In order to find.
Yes, instead of jumping from triangle to triangle. But either way is fine. Okay, go ahead and solve for y, please. Make sure you are not missing algebra steps. Combine on like terms first. What are you guys getting for y? 10 should be our answer. 10 should be our answer. Y equals 10. Does anyone have questions about this? All right, let's do number 9. Number 9 is going to be the same type of problem as number 7, but we have to set it up now. Okay? So let me encourage you on this. When you are the one that gets to be the drawer, the artist, when that gets to be you, I would encourage you to draw your triangles so that they look to be the same. Okay, so like don't draw them upside down or whatever. Draw it something like this. So I'm going to do Q, R, S, and then I'm going to draw it almost the exact same. M, N, P. So that it looks the same, okay? Because I don't need to unnecessarily confuse myself if I get to be the designer. And Ellis, we are on number 9. Just want to make sure. Lexi, we are on number 9. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and label what we know. QR, let's do this carefully and together. QR is 11, so what else is 11? No, it doesn't tell me that they're congruent. I don't know in the same triangle, but I know that MN is 11, right? I don't know that it's isosceles, okay? QS is 15. So what else is 15? MP, right? And we can use our congruency statement at the top. M and S goes with M and P. So that's 15. Then it tells me MP is also 2x plus 1. You guys see that? They're telling you to label MP as 2x plus 1. Well, we just set ourselves up for success there because we know that 2x plus 1 has to equal what? 15, right? So that's going to be easy to solve for x. Okay, then it says measure of angle S is 84. If S is 84, what else is 84? P. Go mark it over there. See, when you draw them to look exactly the same, you don't have to think about which one goes with which, okay? It says angle R is 32. If R is 32, what else is 32? N. And measure of angle M is 17y minus 4. 17y minus 4. So we really set ourselves up for success by asking ourselves each time, what else is this? What else is this? So that it doesn't look like random things in the triangles. So how are we going to find x? What did we say to find x, Kyle?
Okay, 2x plus 1 equals 15.
Perfect. 2x plus 1 equals 15. Good. Did they ask you just to find x and y? Yeah. Okay, so x is 7, right?
Yeah.
How are we going to find y, Carla? I can't hear you.
Would you take the, you can't take the X and put it in front.
Nope, but look in this triangle. Do I have something for each measure of each angle in the triangle?
And then you put them all together.
To equal what?
180.
There you go. All three angles in a triangle make 180, right? So 32 plus 84 plus 17y minus 4 should equal 180. Do you guys see now why I asked you a long time ago to make sure you write equations and practice that so that when they got a little bit tougher, we didn't realize that it was actually tougher because we were so used to doing it? Sometimes there's a method to my madness. Yes.
Look at the restroom.
That's fine. Okay, once you find the value of y, I want you to check with your neighbor and see if you guys have the same thing. Once you find the value of y, I want you to check with your neighbor and see if you guys have the same thing.
Miriam,
Yeah.
my cable partner will come in.
Well, then you can wait. You can be patient. A virtue that we work on every day. Did you check with your table mate? She looks like she's finished. Oh, almost finished.
Do that every time.
Okay, Brian got 4. Did anybody else get Y to be 4? No, you didn't. You silly goose. Y is 4. Good. Okay, let's look at your homework, please, for this lesson. So the next page. Okay, I want you to, on this page, I want you to do 1 through 11 odd. So on page 28 and 29, homework number 15, I want you to do 1 through 11 odd, and then I want you to also do number 12, please. 1 through 11 odd and number 12, please. Okay?